Right now, as you are watching this, your kidneys might be suffocating in silence. For decades, we were taught that kidney function naturally plummets as we age, that losing your body's most vital filtration system is just a normal part of crossing your 60th birthday. But as a medical doctor and researcher who has spent over years in clinical practice, I am here to tell you that this is a dangerous misconception. Your kidneys do not just age, they are worn down by the invisible daily stresses we put them through, specifically in the first hour after we wake up. Welcome back to the channel. I am Dr. Olumide. Today we are going to completely change how you view your morning routine. A staggering 2024 study out of Johns Hopkins University revealed that 1 in 3 adults over the age of 60 in the United States has early-stage kidney decline, and over 90% of them have absolutely no idea it is happening. The symptoms do not show up until the damage is severe. But the good news is this: the biological trajectory of your kidneys can be profoundly shifted. By implementing 3 specific, zero-cost steps before you eat your breakfast, you can protect your nephrons, lower intrarenal pressure, and support cellular repair. I am going to walk you through exactly what to do, counting down to the absolute most important master lever you must pull every morning. Before we dive into the countdown, I want to hear from you. We are building a community of proactive, health-conscious individuals here. Drop your age and your biggest current health concern in the comments below right now. I read them, and it helps me tailor our future videos to exactly what you need. Let us begin with step number 3, the targeted fluid flush. When you sleep, your body enters a state of mild, controlled dehydration. Because you are not consuming water for 7 to 8 hours, your brain releases a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. This hormone signals your kidneys to conserve water. In response, your kidneys begin to highly concentrate your urine, hoarding every drop of fluid to keep your blood volume stable. By the time your alarm clock rings, your kidneys are essentially operating in a state of drought. Here is the mechanism of why this is dangerous if ignored. Your kidneys filter your blood through millions of microscopic structures called nephrons. Think of your nephrons like incredibly fine, delicate coffee filters. When you try to push thick, highly concentrated, toxin-heavy blood through those dry filters, it creates friction and cellular stress. If you wake up and immediately drink a diuretic like coffee, or worse, you eat a heavy breakfast without hydrating, you are forcing the motor of that coffee maker to run without enough water. Over time, the motor burns out. In biological terms, the nephrons become scarred and slowly die off. A groundbreaking 2022 clinical study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases by researchers at UCLA looked at this exact phenomenon. They found that seniors who consumed 16 to 20 ounces of water immediately upon waking, before consuming any other beverage or food, reduced urinary markers of renal oxidative stress by 24% over a 3-month period. That is a massive reduction in cellular damage simply by timing water intake correctly. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is a 68-year-old retired architect from Chicago, Illinois. As an architect, Robert spent his life designing strong foundations, but his biological foundation was cracking. He came to my clinic complaining of deep fatigue, a dull, persistent ache in his lower back, which was actually flank pain from his kidneys, and his routine lab work showed his eGFR, a marker of kidney filtration, was steadily dropping. Robert's morning routine for 40 years was waking up, pouring a cup of dark roast coffee, and reading the paper. His kidneys were starting every single day in a severe drought. We changed one thing to start. The intervention was simple: a large 16-ounce glass of room-temperature water with a tiny, imperceptible pinch of high-quality sea salt to provide trace minerals. Within 60 days, Robert's morning flank pain completely vanished. His energy levels stabilized, and his next lab draw showed a halting of his eGFR decline. We rehydrated the filter before we asked it to do the heavy lifting of the day. Your action step for today is simple, free, and highly effective. Tomorrow morning, before your feet even leave the bedroom, have a 16-ounce glass of water waiting on your nightstand. Drink it within the first 10 minutes of waking. Do not make it ice cold. Room temperature or slightly warm is best, around 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so your body does not have to expend energy warming it up. But hydrating the tissue is only the first piece of the puzzle. Once we prime the pump with water, we have to regulate the pressure of the fluid moving through the system. If the pressure is too high, the delicate filters will tear. This brings us perfectly to step number 2. Step number 2, the renin-angiotensin reset. To understand this step, we have to talk about how waking up is actually a stressful event for your biology. About an hour before you open your eyes, your adrenal glands release a surge of cortisol. This is known as the cortisol awakening response. It is entirely natural. It is what gets you out of bed. However, cortisol also triggers your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. When this system activates, your blood vessels constrict. Your kidneys are highly vascular organs. In fact, 20% of every heartbeat goes straight to your kidneys. Inside the kidney, the blood enters a tiny ball of capillaries called the glomerulus. The walls of these capillaries are only 1 cell thick. When your morning cortisol spikes too high, due to stress, anxiety, or poor sleep, your blood pressure spikes with it. Pushing high-pressure blood through these microscopic, 1 cell thick capillaries is like hooking up a fire hose to a garden sprinkler. The sheer mechanical force damages the delicate filtration membrane. A fascinating 2023 study out of the Mayo Clinic focused precisely on this morning blood pressure surge. Researchers took a group of adults over 65 and had them perform just 5 minutes of paced, diaphragmatic breathing immediately upon waking. The results were astounding. That 5-minute intervention lowered morning systolic blood pressure by an average of 12 points. By consciously engaging the diaphragm, the patient stimulated the vagus nerve, which acts as a powerful brake pedal on the nervous system, immediately dilating blood vessels and relieving the pressure on the kidneys. Consider Susan. Susan is a 71-year-old former middle school teacher from Austin, Texas. Susan had spent 35 years of her life rushing every morning to grade papers, make lunches, and beat the school bell. Even in retirement, her nervous system was wired for morning panic. She woke up anxious, her chest felt tight, and her morning blood pressure readings were consistently hovering around 145/90. She was deeply worried about her kidney health because her older sister had recently been put on dialysis. I taught Susan a simple biological override. Instead of throwing off the covers and rushing to the kitchen, the intervention was to stay in bed for exactly 5 extra minutes. During those 5 minutes, she practiced a 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 7 seconds, and exhale slowly through the mouth for 8 seconds. This specific ratio rapidly clears cortisol from the bloodstream and halts the morning blood pressure spike. After a month of this routine, Susan's morning blood pressure dropped to a safe, kidney-protective 122/78. She felt calm, and her kidneys were no longer being battered by high-pressure blood flow. Your action step is this. When you wake up tomorrow, do not immediately reach for your phone. Do not turn on the news. Sit up on the edge of your bed, place your feet flat on the floor, put one hand on your belly, and take 10 slow, deep, expansive breaths. Make your exhale twice as long as your inhale. You are literally sending a biochemical signal to the smooth muscle in your renal arteries to relax and open up. So, we have hydrated the filter, we have lowered the mechanical pressure, but now we arrive at the most critical element of all. You can have the right fluid volume and the right pressure, but if the fluid itself is toxic, the filter will still fail. This brings us to our master lever. Step number 1. The fasted glucose stabilizer. This is the underlying foundation that makes every other step work. The single most destructive force to an aging kidney is not alcohol. It is not even high blood pressure. It is erratic, spiking morning blood sugar. Let us look at the mechanism. When you eat a typical American breakfast, a bowl of cereal, toast with jam, or a bagel, your blood sugar skyrockets. To shuttle that sugar out of your blood, your pancreas pumps out a massive wave of insulin. But as we age, our cells become resistant to insulin. The sugar stays in the blood longer. When your kidneys are forced to filter blood that is thick with excess glucose, a process called glomerular hyperfiltration occurs. The kidneys sense the extra sugar and essentially go into a frantic overdrive to clear it out. Imagine forcing a street sweeper, built to clean up a few stray leaves, to clean up the aftermath of a massive city parade every single morning. The machinery breaks down. The high glucose physically binds to the proteins in your kidney tissues, a process called glycation, creating advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds are highly inflammatory and cause the filtration barriers to become leaky. When the barrier becomes leaky, protein escapes from your blood into your urine. A landmark 2025 study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health investigated the impact of morning nutrient timing on kidney function in older adults. They discovered that participants who delayed their first meal by at least 90 minutes after waking and ensured their first meal was rich in soluble fiber rather than refined carbohydrates saw a remarkable 31% reduction in proteinuria, which is protein in the urine, over a 6-month period. By simply changing when and how they broke their fast, they stopped the hyperfiltration and allowed the kidneys to physically repair their cellular walls. Let me share the story of David, a 64-year-old accountant from Seattle, Washington. David came to me terrified. He was pre-diabetic, carrying about 30 extra pounds around his midsection, and he had noticed his urine was becoming increasingly foamy. Foamy urine is a massive red flag. It means protein is slipping through the damaged kidney filters. David's routine was waking up at 6 a.m. and immediately eating 2 slices of white toast with honey and a glass of orange juice. He was hitting his kidneys with a massive glycemic load while they were completely defenseless. Our intervention for David was not a miserable starvation diet. It was a strategic shift in timing and composition. We pushed his breakfast back from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. We used the fasting window to let his morning cortisol naturally clear without interfering with insulin. When he did eat, we swapped the toast and juice for a bowl of steel-cut oats packed with chia seeds and walnuts, a meal incredibly dense in soluble fiber. The fiber acted like a biological sponge in his gut, slowing the release of glucose into his bloodstream to an absolute crawl. Within 4 months, David's morning blood sugar stabilized. More importantly, the foam in his urine completely disappeared. The leak had been sealed. His kidneys had stopped hyperfiltering and had begun to heal. Your action step is the master lever of your morning. Delay your first caloric intake for at least 90 minutes after you wake up. Use this time to drink your water and do your deep breathing. When you do sit down to eat, you must ensure that your first bite contains a significant source of fiber: avocado, chia seeds, flax seeds, or leafy greens. Control the morning glucose spike, and you instantly remove the heaviest burden from your aging kidneys. Let us bring all of this together into one cohesive biological strategy. Your kidneys are miraculous, resilient organs, but they require the right environment to thrive, especially as we pass the age of 60. By drinking 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking, you provide the essential hydration to flush the system. By taking 5 minutes to perform deep, paced breathing, you neutralize the morning cortisol spike and protect the delicate renal capillaries from high-pressure damage. And finally, by delaying your breakfast for 90 minutes and prioritizing fiber, you prevent the toxic inflammatory blood sugar spikes that lead to kidney scarring. This routine does not claim to magically cure advanced disease overnight. What it does is dramatically reduce your risk factors and fundamentally shift the burden off your biology. It provides your body with the exact tools it needs to engage in cellular repair. I want you to remember this. It is never too late to take control of your health. Your body is incredibly forgiving if you just give it the right inputs. You are not a passenger in the aging process. You are the driver. If you found this information valuable and you are ready to implement this routine, please hit the subscribe button right now. Give this video a like so the algorithm shares it with others who desperately need this information. And most importantly, share this video with a friend or family member who is over 50 and looking to optimize their health. We are in this together. Thank you for trusting me with your time, and I will see you in the next video.